Hello and welcome to Multi Movie Monday. I'm your host, Wade Universe, and when I'm not trying to stop the world of the zombie apocalypse from coming and trying to survive in a lonely little house or off on an abandoned island with no one else around me, I'm here at my own little universe reviewing movies, and today is Of the Dead Day, where I'm taking a look at two of my favorite zombie movies that I own in my collection. Yes, I do have more than just these two, but keep in mind that they keep of the day genre, and in case you're wondering, yes, these are George Romero films, but probably not the ones that people really want me to review. But keep in mind, guys, that there's plenty more zombie movies and there's plenty more Mondays for me to review them in the future, so don't be upset right now. Just be patient and wait because eventually I will get to it. But I have to answer a question before we get into the review of today. You probably might be wondering, because I do have some viewers that probably have seen it on the channel, what happened to your The Thing 1982 and Your Thing 2011 review? Um, well, YouTube and Universal, not really Universal Pictures or Universal Studios, we'll just say Universal for the hell of it, claimed that I used copyrighted music in the review. For those of you that have watched the review, you'll know that there was not a lot of music, so I don't know what they're talking about. I think they just gave me a reason just to get rid of that review because I know as much as anyone else that pretty much like those movies entirely are like very heavily copyrighted by Universal, and I have reviewed other Universal movies on the channel, and as you can see, they last a pretty long time. So that one only lasted basically a day before Universal decided to basically crush my head like a watermelon. Thanks, Universal, thanks. And thank you, YouTube, as well. I feel like that dog meme of just sitting in my bedroom, uh, sipping on a soda or even a coffee, just going, this is fine. But hopefully that nothing happened to these. So today we're getting into the Of the Day review, and which the first movie is Night of the Living Dead, but not the version that you're thinking of. And no, I don't have the DVD. I accidentally left it away, and I'm not going to go up and grab it. But I'm taking a look at the Tom Savini 1990 Night of the Living Dead, and honestly, I kind of like this one. No, I've never seen the original, but I wouldn't doubt that I would like the original. Plus, the original is copyright free, so if I ever did review it, I could use as many long clips as I want, and YouTube can just. Yes, I had to do a Simpsons meme. But anyway, let's take a look at the Tom Savini classic from 1990, Night of the Living Dead. The movie begins with our two main characters, Barbara and her brother, Barbara being played by Patricia Tallman, that go to a graveyard for their mother to honor her or something. But straight the fuck out of nowhere, a zombie starts attacking Barbara and her brother, and this leads into the first kill of the movie being Barbara's brother. Why did the zombies attack? I don't know. Barbara runs to a house, and this is where the movie mostly takes place, is this house. The house also feels like a character. It has aged, it's developed, and it seems like it's a good place to hold off against any horde of the undead. This is where she meets one of the zombies named Uncle Remus. Right as she steps outside, there's another zombie walking up the road, long before another icon of horror starts coming up towards her, Tony Todd. This is Tony Todd, aka the Candyman from the film Candyman. That meets Barbara, who plays Ben, and honestly, Tony Todd is another one of the greatest things about this movie, especially as Ben. God damn you! God damn all of you! While the characters stay the same from the George Romero movie, there are some minor touches and unique differences. For one, Ben is not a high school teacher, but instead a guy that just happened to stumble upon the zombie apocalypse. And Barbara is the strong, supportive female character in this. While at first she's very terrified of everything and has Ben help her and, be there for her, she does actually pull it off towards the end of the movie. Maybe it's just me, and maybe it's because I'm a big fan of Tony Todd, but I love his performance as Ben. It seems so sincere, and you can tell the guy's putting his heart and soul into it. It's just a delight to see on the screen. It's not long before they meet other survivors, Mr. Cooper and Todd. Yes, these two are also in the house as well as two other members. Todd and Mr. Cooper tell them that they're holed up inside the house while trying to fend off against the zombie horde, as well as also saving Mr. Cooper's daughter who's been bitten by a zombie. Also, I gotta say this, Cooper is a delight in this movie. He's an asshole, he takes respect in being an asshole, and gotta, you have to love him if you see this movie. While the others help Ben, such as Mary Beth and Todd, Mr. Cooper delights himself to a nice ice cold beer down in his cellar with his wife and his sick child. No, he's not gonna help them, he's just gonna let them die. What a nice father. I think the cast chosen for this movie is terrific. Nobody plays over one another, they all interact and feel like actual people in a survival situation feels, and it just gives the movie a more sincere feel, and I actually love that for this film. And I know what a lot of my viewers are probably thinking right now. Where the hell are the fucking zombies? Well, your wish is granted because the zombies are now attacking. This is also where we see Barbara edge up from her performance from the original, especially now acting like the woman that she's supposed to, and including shooting down this innocent zombie for apparently no reason, as Ben tells her to knock it the hell off. Cooper sneaks upstairs to watch the television as the report is trying to make sense of what's going on, which is actually a kind of tone, especially for what happens nowadays. The media overreacts against everything and makes everything worse than it's supposed to be, and sometimes makes up rumors to the whole entire situation. But it's not long before they realize that they can't stay inside the house anymore, and they do indeed have to escape. Escape where? Good question. They decide to go to the gas station to get gas for Ben's truck. But with hordes of the undead outside, that is not entirely going to be easy. I mean, given the fact that these guys aren't necessarily fast, but they can still kill you pretty easily. Meanwhile, at the gas station, Mary Beth realizes that they accidentally knocked off Tony Todd, as Ben tells her to go back for him, but he forgot that the keys that they're looking for the gas box aren't the keys that he needs, so he decides to shotgun it. And as you'd expect, the whole thing blows up. But probably also best too is that, well, the little girl is now zombified, and she's going to go give her mother a nice gentle bite around the neck. You'll be happy to know that Barbara does indeed escape even though the zombie horde is surrounding her, while Tony Todd, aka Ben, takes shelter in the basement, where he suddenly realizes something that they overlooked since this movie began. The keys for the gas station are in the basement. But while Barbara was escaping, or aka running away, she runs into some hillbillies. That's the nicest term I can think of, you guys. They're basically, yes, hillbillies. But Barbara survives as she sees what the hillbillies have been doing with the zombies, basically playing around with them and making them do crazy and ridiculous things, and especially beating them because the zombies can take pain until you shoot them in the head. Going back inside the house, Barbara suddenly realizes that Tony Todd had suddenly became Candyman. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. He actually becomes a zombie, and of course, he gets gunned down in a brutal fashion. Because why not? But it turns out Mr. Cooper was also alive this entire time, hiding in the attic. And Barbara does the proper thing by shooting the son of a bitch since he never helped her during the entire predicament. Good girl, Barb. Well, probably not as popular as the 1968 original cult classic, I do have to say the 1991 by Tom Savini does a really good job of recreating everything from that event. If you're interested, I will say do indeed check it out. It's a really good film, and I can guarantee that you'll enjoy it for what it is. Some good old-fashioned zombie slaying Tom Savini action. So yeah, I highly do recommend the Tom Savini Night of the Living Dead. I mean, yeah, it's not the cult classic original that everybody's gonna tell you to go and watch, especially if you're looking for a good zombie movie to watch. Although I can think of a lot of others, but no, this one is not that bad. Truthfully. Next up on the list let me just grab it here. It's Day of the Dead. I I don't own Dawn of the Dead just yet. Um, Maybe someday in the future I'll review both the original Dawn of the Dead and the 2004 one. I'll be honest with you before we get into this review. I was watching a little bit of the Dawn of the Dead movie last week, and gotta say, not too bad. I forgot when I checked it out, but not too bad. Truthfully, I was kind of getting into it before I had to change it because my father was not all into horror films as much as I am. But again, not too bad. So we're gonna check out Day of the Dead, and this is the collected edition that I bought from a Rite Aid before it went out of business. True story, actually. So let's go and check out George Romero's Day of the Dead, which is not as big, although it does have a cult following, but it's not as big as a cult following as you know, Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead, for example, but still a good movie. So let's check out Day of the Dead by George A. Romero. Day of the Dead starts out pretty strong in an abandoned Florida where there is no one around. All abandoned and nobody picking up a radio signal brought by the team. In case you're wondering, well, that's because everybody's at Disney World. Nope, everybody had been turned into a glorified Tom Savini zombie, and they're all ready and hungry for you. They return back, but the military dickbags here, suddenly ask them what happened and why they're back so early. They tell them, yeah, that's because nobody's alive. The movie's really good at showing humanity's last stand and humanity's last stand together, and especially with a lot of the characters in this film, such as Miguel here. But sadly, Miguel had to go sleep as she sedates him, where she ends up meeting Frankenstein, played by Richard Liberty. No, his name isn't actually Frankenstein, but she also meets Bub, played by Richard Howard. Or Sherman Howard, I'm sorry. Oh, his nickname is Frankenstein. Richard Liberty does basically play a Dr. Frankenstein. The doctor here is obsessed with trying to figure out what's going on with the human brain when it dies and if they can come to terms with the zombies that live outdoors. This is also where we meet a lot of people's favorite character in this movie, Captain Rhodes, played by Joe Patoriano, and yes, this man is amazing. Not only is everybody trying to figure out how to stop the zombie invasion, they're also trying to figure out what they can do with their life if they're stuck underground in an underground facility. The fact is that Rhodes isn't too happy with them trying to figure out how to save the zombies. Well, as you'd expect, yes, especially with Frankenstein's pet projects going around. Speaking of, what about Bob? Bob is a prime example of how terrifying a zombie can be, because Bob has thoughts. Bob is not stupid. Bob is learning. It might not be helped due to Richard Liberty teaching him everything, but Bob is growing smarter and smarter, as pointed out by Richard Liberty, especially teaching him and being his, pet project. Bob does prove that he's getting smarter because he knows how to use a gun, and he's supposed to be dead. That thought alone is terrifying. But it's not long while investigating Richard Liberty's stuff that they do indeed find out something that he's been doing behind the scenes. And it's not really good either.
5 minutes, Mother. Just 5 minutes.
Yeah, Richard Liberty has basically gone crazy as everybody wants to throw him out, but they see against it. It's probably for the best anyways. It's not long before anxiety kicks in and the team turn against each other. Yep, everybody in this movie is suddenly turned against each other with guns blazing and guns turned on everybody. It's a point that George Romero wanted to point out in this film that under the stress and anxiety of everything, humanity will go to terms never seen before, especially for survival of the fittest. And especially with Miguel, that point is relatively clear, as he surrenders himself to the zombie horde up above and decides to let them in the facility and let everybody be killed. Especially we get to see Bub react to seeing Richard Liberty gunned down in the freezer. Zombies aren't supposed to really have emotions. Bub is the turn of event for this movie, and Bub is one of the best things about this movie. God bless Howard Sherman. But especially if you're impatient to see a zombie bloodbath in this movie, oh, don't worry, it does eventually happen, but it only happened towards the end of the film. That's not saying that it's a bad thing, I'm just pointing it out for people that might be like, well, I'm a little impatient for the zombie gore. Don't worry, because if you want gore, the end of this movie has you covered, as zombies walk in and tear people's souls apart. And yes, the survivor survive. What about Rose, you might be asking? Rose doesn't survive. He gets found by Bud, and as you'd expect, Bub guns him down pretty heavily and he drops his ammo, the dumbass. But it's also not long before Rose finds something that was pretty much was gonna kill him from the get-go anyways. He comes across an evil zombie horde. Day of the Dead is a unique George Romero film. It's probably best to say that this won't be for everybody, but if you're a fan of zombie movies, you might want to check this one out. Okay, sure, it's not as memorable as Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead, but it still holds up to this day, at least to me it does. And especially if you want to see some Tom Savini gore and zombie action, I recommend Day of the Dead. Again, this film would probably not be for everybody, but again, still highly recommended that you check it out if you're curious or if you want a new zombie movie to watch this Halloween season. So, what are my final thoughts and what film do I recommend to you most? Well, truthfully, the way how I see it, I would highly recommend Night of the Living Dead probably a lot more than Day of the Dead, but I'm not saying that Day of the Dead is more inferior than Night of the Living Dead, because it's not. But these films do have a message behind them. Night of the Living Dead is what can happen when survival goes to its last drain, and especially in a lone household. Very kind of similar to Day of the Dead, which is about survival's last stand. What would you do against a zombie horde that cannot be stopped and is growing in numbers while you're decreasing in numbers? Well, you kind of have to see it for yourself. But truthfully, Night of the Living Dead by Tom Savini is a great remake of the George Romero classic, including George Romero making this film what he really wanted it to be. Especially, he felt bad for making Barbara the pissy pants, sort of like damsel in distress in that movie. So he kind of made the film that he intentionally wanted. But because of the MPAA and especially also the studios behind the original, yeah, he couldn't really get that until this film, and thankfully Tom Savini is not only a great special effects guy, he's a pretty damn good director. So I highly would recommend that one, especially with the characters, which are greatly written in that one, and performances all around. Big round of applause. But with Day of the Dead, it is a little bit slow, I'll give you that. It's a cult classic, in my opinion. It's at least one of my favorites. But it is slow. You don't hardly get to see the zombie gore action until much later in the film, past the 1 hour mark. And this film is only an hour and a half long, so keep that in mind if you're watching this. But still highly recommended, and I would recommend the collected edition, which has a World End, the Legacy of Day of the Dead, so you can see just how this whole movie got into retrospective and just how long that the team has worked on this film and what the conditions were like working on this movie, because they were pretty horrible. So I would recommend both of these if you want yourself a Day of the Dead day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Next Monday, it's remakes and It's Remake React Day, and we're taking a look at two remakes of two cult classic movies that, in a sense, do a good job, but in another way, they don't hold up as well as the other two films. You'll see what I mean next week. And also, thank you, YouTube, for having me rechange my whole entire schedule and get out a new Halloween special for this coming Halloween. No, I will not let them live it down, but I'm smiling so they think I'm happy with them. Thanks so much. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And as always, guys, I hope to see you on the next Multi-Movie Monday. Plenty more Mondays, plenty more movies. And until next time, guys.